Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Kaneem Aqua, Standing Bear Soda, Tri Fishing Lake First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 territory, Anishinaabe, 60 Scoop survivor, published author, and welcome to We Are the Medicine Circle, which really implies that we are the Medicine Circle. And yeah, hold on, I'll get my medicine ready, which is really what this is. How we are the Medicine Circle. So if it kind of look like that, this is us right there. Um, and if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much, which really just simply means that I want you to live your very best life connected to all those beautiful things, that beautiful alignment, that beautiful connection, beginning with spirit, right? There was a comment yesterday that said, "Well, can you explain what that is?" And I thought we do it pretty much every day. So love isn't that love that we're talking about isn't some sort of like a negotiation, kind of like an agreement, kind of like a contractual thing. That thing that the colonial world really ruined, like they said we're supposed to love each other. That means we're supposed to help each other and encourage each other and help each other be in alignment and all that. That's really what love is, right? And leave it to the colonial world to kind of like to take that to someplace else, to convert that definition as some sort of lustful kind of thing. And I think that's what she was kind of worried about. She kind of alluded to the fact that, hey, look, please don't say that because I feel threatened. And I responded to her right away, and I'm like, well, this is what we mean. Period. That's it. Yeah. Other than that, it doesn't mean an explanation, right? So anyway, she said she would join us this morning. Okay, a couple of housekeeping things. If there's a lag in the audio or the visual, there's spinning wheel. Just know that I'm not going anywhere. That I'm just going to kind of wait it out. If I get kicked off, I'm just going to hit that live button again. We'll pick up right where we left off. We'll finish out the hour ish. Also, if you see me looking back and forth, that's because we're on two platforms. I know some people kind of have a thing against Facebook. So if you do, that's okay. We got you covered. Just go right over here this way. Make yourself to the left here, and Standing Bear, the author. So we are going live from there. Also, we have a bunch of people over there that show up. So yeah, we're part of a couple things here. And I think that's it. Yep. So let's begin in a good and beautiful way. Um, let's start out with a smudge here. This was a comment yesterday too. I noticed you say blah blah. You can use whatever you want. That was the gist of it. If you have a particular thing that you like to smudge with, that's good. Here we're not here to tell you what's right or wrong. That's you know that's a different conversation for someplace else, right? So you know we you know we just think it's a good idea that you smudge. That's and my Soto relatives ancestors used sweetgrass. Sweetgrass. Yeah. And I kind of prefer sage. So that's what we're using this one. Also, yeah, please keep your questions, comments coming. They're beautiful. If we have to kind of repeat them a couple of times, that's okay. Um, Also, there's a grandmother out in Vancouver that suggested that we keep the smoke going throughout the entire circle. She pops on here. She popped on a couple of weeks ago, and she just popped in for a few minutes, and it was really nice to see her here. But her prayer was, again, to keep this smoke going throughout the entire circle in remembrance for the residential school children that have never come home. And so so if you could give me, a heart, if you give me a thumbs up, if you can just kind of keep that smoke going, that's great. Please, and thank you in advance. So yeah, let's okay, so let's all right. Little help from above. And if you would like to offer with me as we begin this circle, it's very traditional to offer tobacco for our prayers to be heard. So if you would like to offer, uh, that would be good. So a little help from above, a little help from below. And then to all my relations, get humanity too. Great Spirit, Creator, Chi Megwit for our breath, Chi Megwit for our circle, Chi Megwit for our day, Chi Megwit for our life. Thank you for life. Thank you for everything. We are grateful for our last breath, and we were hopeful for our next, and we live in that place in between. We come here today. We mean no harm in what we do. We mean no harm. We come here in a good way, humble way, and sacred way. We may come here for a lot of reasons, but the first reason is life. The celebration of life, not the celebration of personal life, but the celebration of our life. The celebration of all nations, tribes, and circles, especially those nations, tribes, and circles that do not look like the two-legged, like the standing nations, the ones that offer the world breath. We say thank you, for they give breath to our relatives. To the fish nations, the ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the water, we say thank you, because we have with clean water. To the wind nations, the ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the wind and air, we say thank you. To the creepy crawlers and the slitheries, insect nations, the ones who teach us how to stay close and grounded to Mother Earth, we say thank you. To the four-legged nation circles and tribes, the ones who offer us and give us so much, to teach us so much to and for our humanity, we say thank you. And of course, to other two-legged nation circles and tribes, we understand that you are our teachers as well. This makes our ears and our hearts very happy. We come here today, we celebrate those things that give us life: air, water, fire, and earth. We celebrate the seven directions because we are part of all directions, and every direction is a part of us. We celebrate the ones who have come before us, our ancestors. Because they have offered us so much. They give us so much prayers. And remember that those ancestors are not just the two-legged, they are all life that are here now and that have moved on. So we have more ancestors than just the two-legged. The first beaver, wolf, and bears, and so on and so on. They all have a beautiful ancestry. They all carry beautiful prayers. They walk in accordance with spiritual law, and that was their prayer. And that is what they have offered us. So we are grateful for this. We are grateful for the teachings, how to align ourselves, how to walk with and honor the sacred laws, universal natural laws. And we are grateful for this. And we also understand that some of our two-legged ancestors were hurt, wounded, abused, and traumatized, and they passed that along to us. They did terrible things and made us do terrible things. We understand this. We understand there's a process of healing, process of recovery. And we understand during this process it's okay not to be okay. There's a grieving and mourning. We understand this. But we also understand as we go through this process, we begin to understand that those wounds were not for us to carry, but for us to heal. And not just heal for ourselves, because that would be selfish. But we heal for the next seven generations. For we only borrow this earth from our children, and our children are only loaned to us. So we are the intersection between two unseen worlds. A physical time and place where we can change, we can evolve and grow and recover. It doesn't have to be the way it's always been. We can break those chains that keep our consciousness low, keep us in fear, keep us in spiritual debt. We can break all those. We don't have to drink anymore, no more. We don't have to do any of that. And this is the time and the perfect place to do that. Right here, right now, in this beautiful circle. What we do here is we come here and we change lives and we save lives. This is what we do. We come here. There's a path. There's a path that we walk. It's called the Red Road, the road of wellness, the road of all people. And on this road are 7 teachings. And as we walk through these 7 teachings, humility, love, truth, honesty, respect, courage, wisdom, respect. So let us align our hearts with these. It is not some far off place. Love isn't that over there. It's who we are. Truth is who we are. So it isn't a foreign mission to get there. It's within us. So let us come closer today, but then the only way that we can find that is when we sit together. The medicine is found in the gathering. That's how we find our place in the circle, and we find our place in it. And we come to grow in this beautiful place, this beautiful time, this beautiful consciousness. We raise the level. We leave yesterday's suffering behind, and we come here and we celebrate life as we celebrate the future generations. Oh, all right. Okay, good one this morning. All right. Well, we got a good start this morning. So, again, my name is Kenny Whitmack, Standing Bear, Soda, Trout Fishing Lake, First Nations, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty, Fort Territory, Anishinaabe. Honor for me to sit here with you. And there was a comment the other day. I'm so glad you're leaving this circle. And I'm like, okay, I am not leaving the circle. I am in the service of the circle. So that's okay. That's a little as my elder would say, a little course correction. Just like that. Ready? Just like that. Little course correction. So I am in the service of the Great Spirit, and I'm in the service of the circle. I really do not want to be in charge of this. I'm a terrible leader. So I just rather just have that beautiful flow with that. And what flow we're talking about? We're talking about hollow bones. So we know there's a life force out there. And that's what we're talking about, ancestral voices and all of that. That's what that includes. It also includes, there was a beautiful comment the other day. I forget when it came in through the weekend. I was kind of off my phone this weekend. That includes, I forget how it was. They worded it really well. we also use the word of the future generations. It was kind of something like that. I think I butchered that. I'm sorry about that, but yeah. So language, voices, stories, they all come in from every direction, right? And that's the next generation can hear exactly everything that we say, and that's just a beautiful thing. And so let's be mindful about what we say and how we say it, right? you know Help keep us in alignment, because we're not the only ones that are listening, right? In different realms, right? They are hearing everything that we say. So okay, so hollow bones. Hollow bones. Yeah, we know there's a life force. We want to connect to that life force. What that life force is, what that entails is uh, the seven teachings. So truth, love, yeah, blah blah blah. So we connect to all that, right? And it's not just some like way out cosmic kind of thing. No, no, it is right here, right now. And the closer we get to it, the closer we realize that we are already the truth, right? We just have to live it, right? So it's really living. We have to live the truth to find out really what it is. And like I've had a pen around here, I'll tell you to write that down. So yeah, here, write that down. So yeah, that's what hollow bones is. It's really living that truth, living the way of earth, living yeah. So and all these things that are around us, the trees, the leaves, the squirrels, the wind, they all have it. They all have a beautiful harmonic truth, right? And so what we do is we really spiritually um, tune in to that, and then we become. That's why the elements really open up the doorway. So there's gratitude, there's offerings, and then the elements, they really open up that to us. Like you ever sit by the water and just be like, oh my God, that's so awesome, right? We were in the Black Hills last month or a couple months ago. We went by this stream. It was really just beautiful. It was magical, man. It was just like, there was so much beauty. And then, it just really helped my hearing. Not like once we get spiritually claustrophobic in the colonial world. We're like, oh man, I just can't handle this anymore. But then when we go out to a stream, or again this weekend, we sat by the fire. There was a bunch of us up here. We were celebrating life. We had a bunch of ceremonies and blah blah blah. We just sat by the fire, and I was just listening to the fire, man. It was just like, that kind of unlocks our hearing, right? It unlocks what we see, right? Kind of blocks out what we can't see too, so it goes both ways, right? So not quite sure where I was going with that. So sorry. Anyway, okay, so that's kind of the hollow bones thing. So ancestors and elders. So it's very traditional to thank those that have come before us. So thank you to all the men and women over Fishing Lake First Nation, my ancestors, all that lineage there. I am so grateful. Thank you to Grandfather Tony Stonehawk. I've been with him for 30 years now, man. Unbelievable, man. That's unbelievable. That boggles my mind, right? So thank you to he is Lenny Lenape too, out of Delaware. Um, and I met him. There was a question the other day. So I met him in Florida. Um, Met him in Florida. One day he asked me to go to a ceremony. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I was like, yeah, man, I'll go. So I ended up, that was kind of like the start of my journey of the Red Road here, and here we are. So okay, so circle medicine. This is really important. This is really just beautiful. I love this, man. I freaking love the grandmother that taught me this. So this is who we are, what we are, and what this is really what we look like right here. So this is all of us right here. This is Tony, Leah, Michelle, Stephen, and me, and the rest of us, right? Uh, this is all. Oh, sorry, I'm going off two platforms. So this is us right here, right there. If you look at that, this is us all intertwined and overlapping. We are literally walking, breathing prayers. Write that one down, and I really offer you to sit with that. I forget where I heard that. It just popped in. So just sit with that and see how much beauty is there, right? How much beauty. We are walking, living, breathing, walking prayers. And this is what we look like right there. So, okay, so that circle medicine, no one's in front of us, no one's behind us, no one's above us, no one is below us. That means we're all equal here, right? That means there's no one in charge. That means it's just kind of thing. It really just, that comment the other day. It's like, wow, man, I really like that you're in charge of it. I'm like, no, 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 no. You're like the leader or something like that. And the person meant it in like a really good way, but we really have to be careful with that, right? Because we can't say that I'm in charge or like the leader, because we are all equal in this circle, and that's something that we just have to, yeah. That's not something that we negotiate, like the teachings. Like, we don't negotiate with the truth. It's like, yeah, well, kind of like, I want to be closer to the truth today, and otherwise I want to drift away. And no, 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 we don't negotiate. We just, so we just have to accept that we are all equal. Then that's it. So, okay, sacred feminine. Um, so actually, we're going to combine the question and the sacred feminine together. So please keep your questions, concerns, and comments coming. This is a question out of Germany. Came in a little while ago. It said, well, like, why do you always talk about the sacred feminine, right? And it's really important. Great question. Like, why don't you talk about the sacred masculine? And go, great question. Because there's a colonial world, not patriarchy, Western colonial world, right, marginalizes the life givers, right, the ones who have given life, right, through their religions, through their, it's a sickness that they promote, right? They promote um, uh, the hierarchy, right? They promote that like, there's a big white guy in the sky, and all of us have to beg, borrow, and you just like ask, oh my God, begging, I just beg, and that's not the way it is. That's not the way of the circle, right? That's another way, right? That's just, and we're just going to leave it at that, right? So we're just going to leave it at that. If you want to beg for the big white guy in the sky, then that's fine, right? Over here, what we do is we are all equal. We are all equal. We have, there's an alignment there, right? Sorry, mosquito. I want to align that mosquito. So, um, harmony and balance, right? So when we mention it, when we talk about it, when we understand it, when we live it, we're bringing back that alignment, that harmony and balance, right? That's what we are doing. That's what we are here to do. So it's not like I'm calling out the Western colonial. I'm not. I'm just letting the sacred feminine know you are beautiful, powerful. You are enough, and you are sacred, because that's who the life givers, again, the basic. We would not be here if it weren't for the life givers, right? We would not be here, right? So I think it's important that we treat them as equals, right? Bring them into bring back that harmony and balance, right? Because we are out of balance, right? And you talk to a lot of colonial, patriarchal women, and they self-marginalize, right? They just do that. They say, well, I was sitting in a church in Florida, right? Just sharing the love, right? Sitting in church, and I was talking about uh, the Indigenous Road, uh, the Red Road. I was talking about the teachings. Um, they were very, they were very interested. And one of them said, one of them had, no idea that we had any kind of spirituality at all. They just thought, we were like heathens, and we worshipped, whatever it is, right? And I said, no, we have very specific teaching. We were in alignment, the circle teaching. So I said, so what she asked, and this is a perfect example. So she had to run to her pastor or preacher to ask if she could learn about the sacred circle, learn about Mother Earth, right? she had to ask permission, and I'm just saying, like, well, you can just show up. You don't have to ask. The guy at the pulpit if it's okay, because that's not what we do, right? You know. So anyway, she came and sat in a couple of circles, but she kept on. Anyway, it just it was what it was. So anyway, okay. So please keep your questions, concerns, and comments coming. I do not guarantee that I will get around to all of them, but I will get around to as many as I can. So this is a place of. There was a question asking about the question. So the reason why we do this is because it brings a place of safety, right? Because if you can't ask questions, then how safe do we really feel, right? So I'm very open to questions, comments, stuff like that. So yeah, please keep those coming. We love you. So, okay, so we are here. The reason why we are here, so we go over a couple books right here. I realize you see them backwards. So this is it, Whispers from the Hollow Bone, Daily Medicine. That's my first book. Feel free to go out and to purchase those. Support this. I just get like a quarter for every book, so it's not like I make a lot of money. But anyway, so please go out and support the bear. So okay, so please and thank you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over Daily Medicine, October 5th, right? So if we could put that, so we can put that in the feed, October 5th, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna read it a couple of times. Develop a general impression, and that's just a starting point, because there's I can't tell how many people are here, but say there's 30 people here. Once we do one reading, then we'll get 30 different starting points, and this is not about right or wrong. So what I get out of it is different than you, but this is not about right or wrong, right? This is not good or bad. We're not bad people becoming healthy, right? Those are all colonial sicknesses, right? They will keep us sick, right? So what we do is we leave that at the door. We offer you the opportunity to put your general impression here in the feed, because once you do it, it gives other people permission to do the same. So and the beautiful thing is, and this is a Tonyism. This is a Tony Stoneism, which is now a Bearism. So basically, so from this one reading, and we do it every day. There's that beautiful alignment. We grow and we learn together. The medicine is in the gathering, and that's what makes it so powerful, right? Like if I were up here telling you what's right and what's wrong, it would be completely different, right? That would say Lee is wrong, Rosemary's wrong, Frank and Deb, that guy's the best, just kind of like that, So, we don't do that. What we do is we align ourselves with this beautiful thing. And so, anyway, you'll find out. So if we could get, thank you, Julie. Julie's awesome. We love you, Julie. So, Daily Medicine, October 5th. I wrote a lot of notes here. So, sorry about it. Sorry about that. Daily Medicine, October 5th. Revealing our sacred stories to our sacred friends is one of the most intimate things we can do for our healing and theirs. Beautiful. This is one of my favorites. So this is, okay. Revealing our sacred stories to our sacred friends is one of the most intimate things we can do for our healing and theirs. This is so beautiful and so powerful. What do they mean by that? Feel free to put your comments in there. So again, there's no right or wrong. So what is your general impression? Revealing our sacred stories to our sacred friends is one of the things. Wow. 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 Okay. Okay, well let's just jump right in revealing what what are they talking about here? Revealing, open up, disclose, reveal, a teaching, reveal the unknown, right? Observing, right? Everything. So let's kind of like the preamble to this would be that everything begins with the spirit, right? So we don't begin with the physical, right? We don't begin with the emotional. We don't begin with the mental because everything begins, and that's why the medicine wheel begins in the east, right? New beginnings. East is right behind me, right? So as the sun rises, those are new beginnings, right? So revealing new beginnings. So when we talk about spirit, that's one of the aspects that we have to talk about, that we have to think about, that we have to pray about, that we just sit with, right? And what we're supposed to do, we're just supposed to sit with these, right? Like we're supposed to make good relations, both seen and unseen, right? We're supposed to, and one of those unseen things is these meditations, right? Those are these unseen. So we draw closer, we sit with, and more will be revealed the more we sit with it, the more we offer, the more we pray. Beautiful. So, okay. Okay. And I know some of you know where I'm going with this, right? Reveal what? Reveal our. Why do you think the Great Spirit, the Creator, said revealing our? That is so beautiful and so powerful, right? It's not revealing mine. It's not revealing hers or his or theirs, right? Right? But it's revealing ours, right? Right? Because I think one of you were just about to say it. I was going to say it. Revealing ours. Circle medicine. We are all related, both seen and unseen, right? Revealing ours, right? Right? We have and here's like a kind of like preamble thing to this, right? Right. Um, we've been talking a lot about this. We were talking about let's just talk about wolf medicine for a second. Humility, right? Wolf medicine, finding our place in the circle, finding our place in the family. The power of the wolf is in the pack. The power of the pack is in the wolf, right? So finding our place in the circle. What's that? Revealing, right? Revealing. How do we do that? Through humility, right? We are all related. That's part of the hour that we're talking about, right? Right? The hour. So if you don't know, like, if you can't find your place in the circle, let's dig a little deeper. Let's sit with a little more. Let's listen to the sounds and the prayers of humility, right? Right. Humility has a song, has a dance, its own spirit, right? It is represented by the wolf, right? But it's also part of everything else, right? So it's not just the wolf. It's represented in every prayer of every living thing, right? Right. We recognize it in the wolf, but it's really, and this you really need to write down. So humility is represented in the prayers that all life is offering and is giving and is living right now. It's really beautiful. So it's not like humility is just like the wolf, right? So the tree, how is not living in accordance with spiritual law, right? That's pretty humble, right? And you know what? We have a difficult time sitting with, you know, living with accordance with spiritual law, right? You know, we have that difficulty, right? Right. So there's a lot more I can say about that. We're just going to move on. We got a long way to go. So disclosure, revealing our what's sacred. Okay. sacred. Why do you think they put sacred in there? It's so powerful, right? But well, it's spiritual, right? Somebody says spiritual, right? Right, it's revealing spiritual, right? Sacred, right? Right. You know, it's to get across the idea. This is mine. This is get across. Excuse me, getting across the idea. Getting ahead of myself there. Slow down there. So we're getting across that we are all sacred, right? Right. Like it's not just that sacred and that's not sacred, and this is sacred when we use it, but sometimes not really, not on Sundays and every other Tuesday. It's not really sacred. No, no, no. It's sacred all the time. You are sacred all the time. Your voice, your dreams, they're sacred. Everything you do, we come from this beautiful sacred place. We come from the womb. Life is sacred. That's how beautiful it is. And everything that has medicine, everything that is born has medicine, right? Yeah. Every nut, every leaf, every seed, when it comes to this beautiful, powerful, sacred, it comes from a sacred place, right? Right. Right. It comes from a sacred place. Okay, so now it's really getting specific here, right? Okay, so this is beautiful the way they said it is revealing. Okay, so it's pulling back, right? Opening up, getting to know. We are to make good relatives. That's what also revealing. So we are to make good relatives to our own sacred story. See, same thing, right? Right. Right. Sitting with, right? Revealing. Like that's how we do it. That's what we're doing right now. So revealing our own sacred stories, sacred truths, right? Stories. What are our stories? We could spend the rest of the hour just on our stories. But what is your story? A lot of us don't even know that. They think it's part of our physical thing, right? And that's part of it. Your story has a physical um, part of it. 25% of it, right? And, we think that's all of it, right? Well, I've been here, went there, did this, did that, graduated high school, and that's part of it. Well, that's part of it, right? Right? That's part of it, right? I did this, I made that I made it, I got locked up, I got drunk, then I did this, then I went to rehab, then I drank again, then I did all this, and then I got married, and then my husband beat me up, and then and I got a kid, that's powerful, and that's part of your story, but that's not all of your story, right? Right. When we really, and, you know, it's kind of like listening, right? When we got here, we only thought we listened from our ears, right? And then we thought we were spiritual. No, just listen from my heart. Just no, well, that's true, but really, we listen. We listen with all of us. That means we're all in. They don't tell us how to listen, right? That's like weird, right? Right? Indigenous grandma said we have to listen with all five senses, right? You know, right? That we connect with all five. When I'm focused on you, that means I'm totally listening, right? You know, right, right. I I want to be all in today. I want to listen to your stories, right? But I can't be all in if I'm focused over there. If I have one ear over here, when I have the music or CNN in the background, right? And then I'm just like, oh, just like you know, there's other things getting in the way, So what we do is we present, and that's part of our story, and learning how to align and how to listen. That's the story right there. That's the good stuff, right? Our story of alignment with what? Well, let's begin in the beginning. Let's align our stories with humility, right? And this is not a good or bad thing, right? This is just, hey, look, you know, let's align ourselves with humility. That's part of our story. That's part of your story, right? You know, right? So then we go from this kind of like this colonial idea of stories. where people talk about the victim. Oh my God, I'm so victim. And that's true. That's part of our physical story, right? Right. Oh my, like he drank or she drank or she went to jail or he went to something like that. That's part of your physical story, right? But our sacred stories is our relationship with the truth, with humility, with honesty, with respect, with wisdom, with courage. You don't even know how much courage you have until you actually take a look at your sacred story and what you've been through, right? So then we go from this place, and this is bringing tears to my eyes, right? I didn't know this. I didn't know this, right? I came from a place, from this colonial world that, I was a victim, obviously a victim of human trafficking, and they did all sorts of things to me, and foster care and all this stuff, bullshit, right? Sorry. You know what I mean? I made a point, right? So, you know, but, but the more we heal our story, what evolves, changes, grows. Let your story evolve and grow. That means we stop talking victimese, right? Right? Look what this world has done to me, right? Look what this world done to me. And then we start thinking like, well, how can I align myself with the truth? When we start telling our stories from that perspective, it's a completely different story, right? And now, and when we say our stories, then let's jump back there, right? Who is the ours? The ancestors, right? Right. Right. See how big this got, man? I could spend the rest of the hour on this right here. Our stories, right? How beautiful is that, right? Right. So we stop speaking victimese, right? Look what's happened to me. And then we take charge of our story. That's why we're doing this. So we can take a look at, sit with, understand, see where we're going, not only for ourselves, but for what the next 7 generations. That's why we're here, right? To make this world a bigger, beautiful, better place, right? But if we don't look at our stories in a sacred way, we will never know how to align ourselves and our stories. We have to align our stories with what? The truth, humility, love, right? Right. You know, you know, right. When we align it, then our stories, the perception of our stories changes, you know. Then we go from victimese, right? I'm really wary of those on social media that, like, they're always talking victimese. Look what they did to me. Yeah, this is not really. I get it, man. I'm a survivor too, man. I can get that, but really, once we move into, like, once we move and really tell our stories, when we encourage others, right? Then then there's been a great and beautiful healing, right? So we go from victimese to encouraging others, right? Right. 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 But, like, how do we get there, right? Like, how do we get there, right? People are stuck on victimese, right? So and we speak a lot of languages, right? We really do. So that's how we tell our story. That's how. So we tell it through, the eyes of sadness, through grief, mourning, right? Right. Right. Which is like okay, and that's just the beginning. But if we never grow out of that, we're supposed to grow and evolve, and that's part of understanding that our stories are so sacred. Is we allow our stories to morph and to change, right? But but if we tell the same old tired story, then that kind of indicates to the spirit that, hey, look, kind of like that little nudge, right? Hey, let's grow a little bit. Like, you've been in October for, like, 13 years now. Let's move out of it, right? I'm being facetious, but you know what I really mean, like the dark night of the soul type thing. We can't live there. We have to live these new dawns. We have to experience more things. That means we have to show up. That means we have to be all in. That means we have to sit and listen. That means we have to put some skin in the game. A price has to be paid if we want our stories to grow and evolve. Right? I love you. If no one said that they love you today, I love you very much. Right? Okay. Right. Yeah. So we start telling our stories from a place of alignment, right? That's how we grow, right? So that means we have to show up, right? Right. That means we have to make good relations with what the truth, right? So my truth was really ugly, and I thought that my truth was going to kill me, right? I literally thought my truth was going to kill me. Like if I told you what they did to me and how often they did it to me, then I was going to tell you that I was going to die because I was reliving that, right? But once and here's like the beautiful thing, right? Here's the difference between this world and the spiritual world and the colonial world. The colonial world was busy diagnosing me. I had all these, I had 17 diagnoses, man, when I got here, right? But one question changed all of that. The perspective of all of that when Grandfather Tony said, you know, what happened to you? And nobody ever asked me that. What happened to you? But, and I couldn't even tell you what they did to me. I couldn't even. I think Tony, maybe they probably a couple years later when Tony, they did, they did that. They did, they did that, right? Tears, bubbles, snot bubbles, everything. They did that, right? I was aligning my spirit with the truth. And you know what? At this point, it's okay not to be okay. That's why we say that in the opening prayer, because that's what that is, right? It's okay not to be okay. We are all in a mourning process right now. We are all behind on our tears. That's the deal, right? That's the deal, right? They took us from our mothers, from our spiritual mothers, from Mother Earth. We are Mother Earth. And so what we have to do is we have to align our truth with the truth of Mother Earth, right? To reveal who we really are, because that life out there, that world out there, takes that away from us. And we are the ones to put it back, right? That's why it says our 4 times in this reading. We haven't even got back to the reading yet, but I'm on a roll here. So how about that? So is everybody okay? All right. So it's okay not to be okay. So let's just take a run of this right now. Okay. So they tore us away from our earth mother, right? They tore us away. That means they didn't teach us the ways, right? They teach us to not teach us about the elements, not teach us about, and this is all levels of consciousness too, levels of healing, right? So they took our healing away. They took our voice away. They took our connection with Mother Earth away, that beautiful universal consciousness. So of course, we're sad, lonely, scared, afraid. We become violent, we drink, we become depressed, all this because we drink, right? I get that, right? But you know what? We can reverse that second. We can heal. We can reverse that because we can do this right now. Get back in the middle of this thing, sit by the fire, splash in the water, man. We had a great weekend, man. We had a great weekend. We sat in the lake, we sat by the fire, we sat in the womb of Mother. All what? To become more, to remember that we are the truth, that we are all these beautiful things, and that's your story. At the end of all this, that's your story, man. But the way you tell it is unique and yours, and you have a place of value in this world. That's your story. We're waiting to hear it, right? We're waiting to hear it. Uh, 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 right, uh, right, yeah. We're waiting to hear it. And there's colonial Western, patriarchal, religions. They just don't have it. They just don't have it, right? There's a little bit of truth. It's kind of like them Buddhists, man. They got it right. And as bad as those patriarchy religions are, there's a little bit of truth. Like when you say, love thy neighbor, that's true, right? But everybody is our neighbor, right? So it's not just, it's all life, you know, you know, you know, you know. Right. So when we align ourselves with these truths, right, we find our value, right? We find our worth. We find our uniqueness. It's all the same thing. They're all relatives right there. And I need you to write that down, right? I need you to write that down. Our value, gifts, and uniqueness, right? That's our, and that's all our place in the circle. This, we all have a unique gift to bring to the circle. That's why we tell our stories. To what? To reveal, to find, to open up, to give, to offer, right? Right. A lot of us feel stuck, right? A, a lot of that colonial world, the Western patriarchal religions, and just the way they will leave you stuck and begging, right? But over here in the spiritual world, right, we don't need to beg from a white guy in the sky. We just don't need to do it because that's not, and that's like anti-circle right there. That's a patriarchal. That's a big white guy. Now, I'm not in debt, and I'm not here to beg, right? Right. I'm here to love you, and I can't do that. And if I'm sitting here begging, and you put me or place me, and I believe that I'm in spiritual debt, so we just leave that conversation at the door, and we come here and we know the truth that we are aligned with everything beautiful. How's that? We are aligned, but we can't do that until we what? We tell our sacred stories to what? Our friends. Who are we talking about here, right? What friends? Is it just the two-legged friends? No, no. We have to get out of that little box, that little mindset that is just like this big. It's like, like again, like the colonial like religions were like, okay, I think I see something there, right? Oh, no. But really, but you know, but really, what this is, we don't need your churches. We need to go out to this place called Mother Earth, realign, connect with all these beautiful truths. And at the end of that story, again, we realize that we've always been beautiful. We've always been sacred, which is something that, again, there's a lot of contrast medicine here, right? Which is, again, something that colonial patriarchy world keeps from us, right? You're all beautiful, powerful, and sacred, right? That's your story. We're waiting for you to find that out, right? And really, really, that patriarchal world is designed to make your passage, to throw away your power like confetti, right? But over here, that we collect it all. We realize this. We realize our stories, that we are beautiful. We are beautiful. We're all beautiful flowers. We all bloom from the inside. We're all different sizes, shapes, colors, and everything. We all come from different parts of the world, but we are all just beautiful, beautiful flowers. You understand? We are all one, and the patriarchal world will remind us that we're not. They always remind us that there's an adversarial thing in there, right? That we're not. They always include that because that's the only thing that they know, right? That's the only thing that they know. But over here, if we were all equal, right? We're not our religions, right? We're not. You know, the Abrahamic brothers forgot they were brothers, and that's why they're fighting, right? So we dismiss that altogether, right? We just dismiss that, those silly little religions altogether, and we realize that we are all one. That's the deal. And once we realize one by one spirit, one word, one story at a time, that's how we do that, one sunrise at a time. That's why Spirit gives us one sunrise a day, not to overwhelm us. Say, this is a new, beautiful way. Right. This beautiful thing called Creator created everything, created us equal. Yeah. Yeah. Revealing our sacred stories to our sacred friends. That means we tell it to the eagles, we tell it to the fire, we tell it to the ancestors, we tell it to the next 7 generations, right? So, you ever sit in the next generation, the next seven generations? It is unbelievable and powerful. And that's part of every ceremony that we go to, because every prayer that we do should include the next 7 generations. So we include everybody, even the ones that aren't in here yet, because we can do that, because we have that much power, because we know that they are right there. They are listening. Tell them your story. Tell them how you overcome this thing called the colonial world and come to find your power, to find that beautiful consciousness, that beautiful place that you are, that beautiful flower within. That's why we're supposed to be here. Right. Revealing our sacred stories to our sacred friends is one of the most intimate. Into me you see. There we go. Into me you seek. Right. We have to want to be seeking. Right. We have to do this. We have to sit. We have to speak with our truth. Right. We have to speak with our sacred truth, and when we speak with our sacred truth, that means like at the beginning, say, look, man, I'm sitting here lost, lonely, afraid. Like I went to this Bible thing, that didn't work. I went to the Buddhist thing, that didn't work. I went to this Jesus thing, that didn't work. The only thing that really works, that is really in alignment with us, is the very thing that we already are, right? Keep all those other things over there. But over here, we need all of you. We don't need your religions. We need to know that you're human with us. That's who we are. We don't need your race. We need to know that you're humans. Right. That is less important than the fact that we are sitting together. That's the deal, right? That's the story. That's our human story. And when enough people start telling our human story, then that beautiful level of consciousness, that beautiful place of peace, harmony, and balance. That's why we're here, to remember that beautiful place. That's the end game, right? That's the end game, right? That's the end game, We don't need, I was talking to your friend yesterday. We're talking about how nationalism, and this goes with religions, right? Like if you're toting a little religion along with you, then, and a certain holy book or any holy book, and then you completely missed the point about being human, right? You completely missed it, right? But the fact is, once we sit here, we sit with Mother Earth, then we find out who we are, what we're really supposed to be doing here for the next 7 generations, not some silly religion. I kept out of the fray yesterday with all this, like, America's great, that's all this, I just stayed out of the fray, but it was just like, God, man, let's for one day, let's just realize that we are all humans, we all breathe air, and we all want the best for our next 7 generations, and we can't do it with nationalism and religion and this and Abrahamic religions all fighting each other and just coming here and just like, there's a guy in the feed today, just like feeding into that, right? Just like all this nonsense, right? All this nonsense that the Abrahamic religions, bring, right? And that's really good, necessary medicine for us to understand that, hey, look, we don't need that, right? We don't need some white guy in the sky to tell us, what to do. We don't need that, right? We don't need the sun up and tell us what to do. And no, we don't need that. We need each other, and we need to sit in a circle. That's how we find ourselves. And how we find ourselves is directly in here, is telling our sacred stories, and how we are aligned, how we are getting aligned with Mother Earth, with the truth, with all the medicines that she has here, the water, the fire, the prayers, the harmony, the balance, the eagles and the bears and the bees and all these beautiful things, right? We can't do this without them. That's the deal. That's the story. We can't do this without them. We've tried and we're failing. Because again, this is kind of like there's a religious guy in the feed here. So the best version of you is found with us. Write that one down. The best version of you is found with us. And us is telling our stories. Us is with the beavers, the bears, the sunrise, the sunsets, right? That's the best part of us. And if your story does not include the sunrise, the sunset, the beavers, the bears, and all these things, then I doubt that you found the very best part of you yet. Right? Right? Write that one down. Brings me to freaking tears. Right? You know, brings me to tears. Right? Write that one down. If, if your story doesn't include the next 7 generations, then I doubt you found the very best part of you yet. And really, what's really beautiful here is the more medicine that you gather, the more things that you include, the better version you are. The better version you are for us raising that beautiful consciousness, that beautiful awareness, right? Right. Imagine how beautiful it is. You sitting with, consciously talking to, with the very first eagle that ever was. Right? What a story you can tell that eagle. What a story to the first bear, grandmother bear. Imagine the stories that you can tell them. Right? Imagine the story you can tell to the first fire that ever was. Right? To the first drop of water that ever was. The fire and that being in that beautiful place. Right? Being at the first sunrise, and imagine your story being a part of that. And that's how beautiful and powerful, that's how beautiful and powerful this is, right? Right. That's called this, in indigenous realms, they say we all have a higher council, right? Well, that's part of it, right? So the stories is how we include the higher council, right? And the higher council isn't human, and especially isn't a religion, right? So, leave it to the patriarchy to replace, what we need to do with what they want us to do and want us to be, right? You know, this is a lot of contrast medicine, man. I love my Christian brothers and sisters, man. I really do. They brought a lot of contrast medicine here, so that has to be addressed, right? So, into me. So their story. So the end game here is their story. The first sunrise, the first beaver. That story is already within you. So again, we not only offer to sit with them, but we offer them our place in the hearts. And once we do that, we realize it's already there. Right. That means we realize that we're already part of this beautiful truth. Right. This beautiful truth, this beautiful thing, how important life is. Right. 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 Into me. Okay. I'm not sure where we are in the reading right now. We're going to run over. I think we already ran over. So, revealing our sacred stories to our sacred friends. Okay, both seen and unseen, all directions, right? So we're clear, right? Including the first beaver and bear, including all those are the sacred friends, and the stories revealing. So when we reveal the stories to you, guess what happens? Guess what? The teaching beyond the beyond is they teach you theirs, right? Right. Into so it's one. I'm getting all scrambled here. Hold on. Revealing our sacred stories to our sacred is one of the most intimate, into me things we can do for our healing and for theirs. So that means, let's get this out of the way. That means it's full circle. That's what that means, right? That's what that means, right? Right. So that means this is my story. This is my story right here, right? This is my story right here. And this is their story. My story, their story, my story, their story, my story, their story. What we have to do here is why we're doing this, why we're aligning ourselves with the truth, right? Aligning ourselves with the eagle. It's the bears, their stories, right? Their sacred walk, right? That they're according with sacred law, right? Is because their story becomes ours. And then once we tell our stories long enough, then we move out of that place of loneliness, despair, victimese, sadness, loneliness, depression that those colonial world have to offer. That's the only thing, by the way, that they have to offer. So if you're sitting there right now, let's get real time, real fast. If you're sitting there real time, real fast, lost, lonely, scared, afraid, if you're drinking, if you're drugging, hey, that's just a sign the gauge to tell you, hey, look, man, we got some work to do. We have some work to do. And you know what, that colonial world says, you know what, you have to do that work over here. We want to hear your story. That's how you get out of that place, right? That's how you get unstuck, right? The thing is, you have to show up. You have to tell the truth. You have to tell your story, right? And if you're hurting, right, and this is not a place of blame, shame, guilt. If you're hurting, that's okay. Hey, amen. Because I came here lost, slowly, scared, afraid, drinking, violent behaviors, right? Self-violence, self-inflicted violence, because that's the only thing that I knew how to do. That's the only thing that world, those religions taught me to do, because I wasn't a part of it, right? All those religions, at the end of the day, their teaching, behind the teaching, is that you're not a part of this world. They don't celebrate the sacred feminine. They don't celebrate, so they replaced it with a book and with a Messiah. We don't need that. We don't need that. We need each other, and we need to tell each other our stories, and we need to listen. And as we tell each other the stories, as we bring in the ancestors, they tell us their stories, because guess what? It's full circle, right? And then we learn it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to tell some more truth. And it's okay. Oh my God, I feel better. And oh my God, I feel alive. Oh my God, there's a place of value for me. Oh my God, there's a gift for me that only I have. Creator gave you a beautiful, every day. Creator gives us a beautiful gift. Every day, in every season, in every breath, there's a beautiful gift for us. But if we never tell our story, we will never reveal the gifts that we are. And really, those gifts begin with, hey, look, I'm special, I'm beautiful, I'm enough, I'm sacred. And that's the deal. That's the deal. But if we never come to the circles, we will never know. If we never sit with Mother Earth, we will never know. The medicine is in the gathering. That's what we do. That's what we do, right? That's that world doesn't want us to do, right? But that's what we do. We gather. The medicine is in the gathering. I need everybody to write that down and to understand how beautiful and powerful is that. And when we say, when we gather, that means not just the two-legged. That means we invite all life in here, right? Right. That's why every prayer that we start with starts with the standing nation is the one to give us breath of fish people, and because what we're doing there, aligning ourselves with their truth, right? The ability for them to communicate with us. Hey, this is how we take care of the water. This is how we take care of the air. But if we never sit with them, we never verbally, physically invite them in, then we will mentally and physically never know, emotionally never know what it's like to live a good life. And we are here. That's the only reason why we're here, is to live a good life, connected to all those beautiful things. That's why I say that. I don't say this to sound cool. Oh, well, we'll move on and get a good, beautiful life. No, we come here and we share the stories. And then we realize our stories are what? Intertwined, overlapping and intertwined, connected to all life. That's who we are. That's what we are. That's how we're supposed to live. And we're supposed to spiritually stay in this. Once we got there, once we have a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of consciousness, a little bit of, and what that feels like. And then though, that people are like, well, what are we supposed to feel once we're there? So the teaching beyond the teaching, beyond the beyond, is we're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to, there's a level of satisfaction there spiritually, like, man, I'm living my very best life, right? I'm living my very best life because I've done a few things right. I've done a few things. I've sat in those circles. I've cried in those circles. Cried real dog tears, right? Real dog tears, right? This is what, and in the beginning, it was what they did to me. And at the end is what Spirit was doing for me. I travel the world and I help a lot of people because that's my prayer. Creator, take me where I need to go. But, I will do what you want me to do. That's my prayer. It's very simple, right? And I get to go a lot of places, right? Not because they want me, not standing better than one, but it's that beautiful flow that flows through all of us, that beautiful prayer of life that flows through all of us. That's what we're here for. Not to be religious or to be, label ourselves, religious or some sort of, nationality, which is like just terrible, right? We're supposed to be here and remind ourselves that we are human, right? Right? That we all have a beautiful, powerful message to carry, right? And the deal is, we're supposed to find that message. We're supposed to share it with the world, find that gift, find our purpose, and to share that with the world and to make this world a better place. Okay. I think that's it. And if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much. It really means I want you to tell your sacred story. I want you to connect to all those things beautiful. I want you to, connect to the truth. Connect to tell you. I want you to find your value, your gift, and so so we can all benefit, right? Yeah, that's really it. That's it. Okay, so we have a number of workshops coming up. I will be in Germany and I will be in Hungary. Very exciting, and we are gonna. So I'm going there in August. I think that's next month. So August, I will be over there mid-August, and I'll be over there in Hungary. So we'll put that over there. Also, we're gonna do an online thing with Denise Miller and myself. So we'll be talking about all this with Denise Miller and myself. She is a grandmother, Métis grandmother. So, like, you want to talk about harmony and balance, man? We just put it together. We sit there. It's a 3-day intensive. We talk about wisdom from all over the world, not indigenous. And we talk about, their spiritual cleansing, spiritual healings, and then all this beautiful stuff. We talk about prayers all over the world. That's what we do. If you want to be involved, please private message me. That's probably the best way to do it. Because sometimes I miss messages in the feed just because there's so many messages here. Okay, so that's really it. So we'll close it out in a good and beautiful way. So just close your eyes. Use that imagination to really just again, let's enter into that imagination agreement, that sacred agreement, right? That's a sacred imagination is a sacred agreement, right? It's a gift that is offered to us. Let's use it to connect. So use this. Use this time to play. This is grounding medicine, by the way. This is not a flute, or I'm not here to entertain you. This is grounding medicine, right? So oh, plus we're having another healing physical weekend in August, right here in Saskatchewan Beach. So we are having it, man. We have a great gathering. If you're interested to, please private message me, and there's organizers there. It's not me. It's there's open, and we'll put you in touch. We'll get you that information to come out here in August too. No, it's early August. It's long weekend August before I go to Germany. So just close your eyes. I love you, and just visualize that beautiful place that you are. We really ran over today. I'm really sorry about that. The final word is this ceremony may end, but the ceremony in you does not end. So let's take what we lived here, loved here, learned here, and listened to here, and take it out to the four winds. Does us no good to be all spiritual here if we don't take it out there. So that means hit more than that share button. We all should be hitting that share button, because what we did here, we had a beautiful collective consciousness here, a beautiful, beautiful flow. So let's share what we did here physically, and let's share what we do here spiritually. That means be that place of light and love. That's what that means. That means be nice to the deli guy. That means nice to the gas attendant. That means sharing kind words. That's what that means. That means being the peacemakers. That's what that means. That means We bring the spirit of what we did here everywhere we go. My name is Kaneepa Witt, Mac Watts, Standing Bear. And if no one said that, they love you today. I love you very much. Let's have a great day. Bye-bye.